need. Number one, you need credit scores over 730 with all three bureaus. That's Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So you need 730 plus scores. Second thing that you need is you need to have nothing derogatory on your credit in the last 12 months. That means no late payments, no judgments, no collections, no bankruptcy, no foreclosure. By the way, bankruptcy or foreclosure, you need those off your credit in total. The third thing that you need is less than 4 inquiries on all three of the bureaus. So when you go on creditchecktotal.com, you click on the inquiry tab. Once you click on view current report, you can see how many inquiries lenders can see on all three of your bureaus right there. So you need less than 4 inquiries in the last 12 months. And the last thing that you need is your balances on your revolving credit accounts to be less than 40% of the limits. Revolving credit accounts are basically credit cards. So if you have a car loan and that's a $30,000 balance on a $38,000 original loan amount, that doesn't matter. That's an installment loan. Don't add that into the total. Say you have one credit card that's a $10,000 limit and you have another credit card that's a $15,000 limit. So you add those together, you have a total of $25,000 of limits. 50% balance would be $12,500. Just take 0.5 and multiply it times your total limits. So you want all of your balances to be under 40% of the limits. So just add up all of the limits of your credit cards, then add up all of your balances, divide your balances by the limits, and you're going to see what your percentage is. You want to be under 40% of that. Another great benefit of having a creditchecktotal.com account, it'll show you your percentage of credit available, and that's referring to your percentage of revolving credit available. So those are the 4 things that you need. So here's some great news. First of all, if you're missing any of those 4 requirements, say your scores are only 680, usually by removing inquiries, by getting your balances under 40% of the revolving limits and removing negative items, you can get your score over 730. We've helped many clients raise their scores from 650 to 750, or 600 to 720, or 680 to 780 very quickly, sometimes in as little as 1 month. So what's the fastest way to raise your credit score? Let's say you have less than 4 inquiries and you're right at like a 710 score, and your really only challenge, you have nothing negative on your credit, your only challenge is that you have too high of balances on your credit cards. That is actually the easiest things to fix on your credit report. We can help you through a technique called adding an authorized user account, increase your credit limits very quickly so that your total ratio of balances to limit is under 40%. Let me give you an example. We had one client that had 730 scores. Before they came to us, they applied for 2 business lines of credit. Were denied both of those. I believe one was a business line of credit, one was a business credit card. The reason why? They had $30,000 of credit card limits, $27,000 of balances. So they had 90% utilization. Take 27 divided by 30, 90%. No bank wanted to loan them any more money because they considered them a high credit risk of defaulting because they're using most of their available credit. Now, most of our competitors would tell them 40% of 30 limits is $12,000. Most of our competitors would say you got to pay off $15,000 on your credit cards. Then you'll have 12,000 limit balances. You'll have 30,000 limits. You'll be at the 40% ratio. Then we can raise you corporate credit. Paying off $15,000 on the credit cards, it's a lot of money out of pocket. We helped them for only $2,000 accomplish that same objective. We added a couple authorized user credit accounts to their credit reports. Their limits went up to $60,000. And they had the 27 of balances, and voila, they're at 40% utilization. We did that within 3 weeks. In the 4th week, we applied for funding for them, and we raised them $220,000. So that you can perhaps do the same thing. You could go from not being able to raise any funding at all to, for only a couple $1,000 investment, being able to raise $100,000 plus per person in your company with good credit. Now that was a couple. They each had 730, 740 scores. And both of the credit cards were in both of their names, and so for that investment we optimized both of their credit ratings. So that's one easy way to pop your score and be able to raise your funding really quickly, is just by adding authorized user accounts. The second thing we can do is we can help you remove those inquiries, and we can also help you remove negative items off of your credit report. That can be generally done within 1 to 3 months. We can remove almost all the inquiries off your credit report and remove almost all of the negative items. We remove bankruptcies, foreclosures, anything except a child support collection. We can remove anything negative, and we can remove that permanently so it won't come back. That's because the Fair Credit Reporting Act requires the credit bureaus to verify the validity of any negative item on your credit report, and 99.9% of the time they do not comply with the Fair Credit Reporting Act and verify those items. So the great news is, even if you have a legitimate negative item on your credit report, it can usually legally and permanently be removed from your credit report. So you can optimize your credit, remove anything negative. Now here's some great news. Say you have like lots of negative things on your credit report, and it might take 3 to 4 to 5 months to optimize your credit and get it where it needs to be. There's a way to very quickly get your company to have a great credit score, and the way to do that is you bring on a credit partner. A credit partner is someone who brings their good credit rating, and they partner up with you and your company, and they join your company in essence, and you give them a profit share, and they let you borrow their good credit rating, and with the company and their good credit rating, we can raise you funding very, very fast. Now let me give you an example of this. We had a client about 5 months ago, that potential client that came to us. They had 20 years of experience in their industry, long track record of making several $100,000 a year, year in and year out, and they had some medical collections a couple of years ago, and they haven't been able to raise any funding since then. They have like several $100,000 of medical bills on their credit report. So it could cost a lot of money and take quite a lot of time to remove all those things off their credit. So we suggested to them, why don't you go and look for a credit partner? They followed our advice. They went and found a credit partner. We helped them strategically bring that person, we showed them how to find that person, bring them on board to work with them. And once they did that, they became our client. And we only had to do 2 things on that credit partner's credit to raise them funding. We had to add 1 authorized user account to their credit and just fix a couple of little things with their address and their employer name. Once we did those things, those 2 things only took 2.5, 3 weeks. We applied for funding for them, and within the first round of funding, within 6 weeks, we raised them $155,000. So you could potentially yourself, even if you have a lot of challenges on your personal credit, bringing on a credit partner to your enterprise, you could very quickly raise your first $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 to grow your business, and do that within under a month. I have great news for you. If you just now have heard, this is the first time you've ever even heard about what a credit partner is, on our next training, we're going to be showing you how to identify, approach, and bring a credit partner on board your operation. So this process took me a couple of years to perfect, and by watching the next video that we're going to show you tomorrow, you're not going to need to figure out and fumble for the next 6, 9, 12 months to figure this out. You can go find a credit partner in the next couple weeks using our blueprint that we're going to give you. So if you have a lot of challenges on your credit, don't worry about it. We're going to show you how to bring a credit partner on board your enterprise in tomorrow's training. So just to wrap up today's training, you only need 2 things to raise corporate credit. You need an existing 2-year-old corporation, and if you have one with no negative credit history, great, we can use that corporation. It could be S Corp, LLC, or C Corp. Or if you don't have a corporation, we can help you save the $2,000 to $10,000 it would cost to invest in a shelf corporation, set up a 2-year-old entity for you within under a week, and then you're ready to go. Second thing that you need is someone with 730 plus credit score, and as far as the credit goes, you want to go to creditchecktotal.com now, create a profile there, and see if your credit qualifies. Make sure your scores are over 730. Make sure you have less than 4 inquiries with each of the 3 bureaus. Make sure your balances are under 40% on your installment, on your revolving credit accounts, a la credit cards. Last but not least, you want nothing derogatory in the last 12 months. Ideally, you want nothing negative on your credit at all. As long as you meet those 4 criteria, you or a credit partner, you can raise funding for your corporation very quickly. In closing, I want to encourage you, at this point, you've figured out that corporate credit makes sense for your enterprise. You figured out your profit margins support raising corporate credit, and you now know what's required. If you already meet the requirements, or by bringing a credit partner on, you feel confident you will be able to meet the requirements in the next couple of weeks, I would encourage you to request a consultation from us in order to utilize our Business Blast service. Now, there's 2 ways to raise corporate credit. You can go and invest in the School of Hard Knocks and just go apply at some different banks and see what happens. Probably get a lot more denials and approvals, but you could do what I did, and within a few years' time, you could raise a few $100,000 for your enterprise. The main things that you need to know if you do that on your own is you got to figure out a way to remove those inquiries as you're generating inquiries with your applications. That's one way to do it. With the information that I've given you in these last 3 videos, I feel that you should be empowered to do that on your own. And if you do that, I wish you the best of luck. The second way to pay for education and get results that you want is hire someone else who's already gone through the School of Hard Knocks. They've already invested at that university, and leverage their expertise. That's what many of our clients do. They utilize our Business Blast service, which is a done-for-you service. And with our service, we optimize your credit. We apply it. We set up your corporation and do the 411 registry and everything that needs to be done to apply. We go to the banks that are loaning the most money and apply, fill out the applications on your behalf. We follow up with those lenders to increase the limits and get you the maximum funding available. And then we also remove your inquiries for you after getting you the funding, and then we can repeat that process through 3 different rounds of funding. So if you would like to utilize our Business Blast service and raise $200,000 to $400,000 or $500,000 in the next 3 to 6 months, leveraging our expertise and saving yourself a lot of time and effort, I encourage you do 2 things. You need to create your account at Credit Check Total, make sure that your credit meets the qualifications, or figure out what needs to be done to your credit to optimize it. And number 2, I encourage you use the information on this page to contact our office and request a consultation. If you already filled out your use of money calculator with your margins, I encourage you send us a copy of that so we can review that with you when we do our consultation, and let you know that we will accept you as a client to work with us. 2 criteria that are really important are you need to be serious and be willing to invest in yourself and in your business, and you need to be teachable and be willing to follow instructions. We're going to do 95% of the work for you if we accept you as a Business Blast client. But you do need to be serious, and you need to be willing to do that 5% of the work that you have to do, and that's only a few steps. So if you are serious and you do want to grow your business profits quickly while keeping control of your business and not having to give up equity to a Shark Tank angel investor, I encourage you request a consultation with us, and we may be able to be in the next week or 2 helping you raise corporate credit very, very quickly without having to waste a lot of time and trial and error in the School of Hard Knocks. I thank you for your time on today's video, and I hope that you're excited about finding out tomorrow how to bring a credit partner on board your enterprise if you indeed need one or would like to utilize one to raise funding for your business very, very quickly. I thank you for your time investment with me. I trust it's been valuable for you, and until we speak again, I encourage you to leverage all that you've got to get all that you want and play big. God bless. Talk to you soon.